Yo, 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 welcome Notorious Money fam to another Notorious Money podcast. It's your boy Adrian. Today I have two stories to tell and share. There was once a young man who made it big in corporate America. More than 6 figures in income, and he had a huge savings, and also aside from his income had multiple side businesses, and also had received some trust fund money from his family. With all of this income and all of these economic resources, he ended up buying a much coveted mansion 2 hours away from the city. Now, in the city where he worked were all of his childhood friends that he grew up with, all of his most cherished relationships, all the people that he loved hanging out with during the week and on the weekends, doing different activities, going out to eat, having fun, you name it, after work, being able to go and just hang out. The young man was single, so he loved going out and socializing with his friends and visiting his family members. He cherished that above everything. But he bought this mansion because he thought it was going to be a great experience to have a mansion, to be young, to be able to invest in this property, in this land that will just grow in value, and then he'll be able to have house parties, and all of the people that he loved will come over, and he'll be able to hang out with them. He bought the mansion, and little did he realize that it was going to be a lot of upkeep, a lot of work, but also in his commute that was anywhere from 1.5 hours to 2 hours into the city for work, he then had to drive out of town, out of the city, at nighttime, back home for an 1.5 hours. But if he wanted to go hang out with his friends, he had to drive back into the city for 1.5 hours. So it was a lot of driving up and down, going to work, maybe coming back home, and then going back in the evening to leaving the empty mansion, and then going back to just hang out with his friends and family members. He didn't realize that because of the circumstances of his family, of his friends and family members, the people he loved hanging out with, and the moments that he cherished with them, he didn't realize that for them it was going to be tough during the week to justify going 1.5 hours or 2 hours to go visit him. He thought that every day would be a party. He thought that every day would be a kickback, every day it would be chilling, and every day he could vibe with his friends and with the people he loved hanging out with, weekdays and on the weekends. He realized that because they weren't going to come, because of the distance, he ended up having to sell the mansion and breaking even on that investment and that property that he wanted so much. He ended up selling, breaking even, and going back to living in a nice apartment in the city where he could spend time with his friends. In the second story that I'd like to share, it comes from the Bible, the story of the prodigal son. Two young men. One young man asked his father for an advance on all of his riches and his inheritance. And the father gives it to the young man, and the young man goes out into the world and spends all of his inheritance, all of his father's money, all of the portion of basically his trust fund that his father had given him, to the point where he had to work taking care of the swine of a poor man in the middle of nowhere, and then ended up having to eat with the swine to feed himself. Having stooped to the lowest of lows, he goes back to his father, and his father luckily embraces him back and throws a party, the biggest party ever, for the return of his son. Now, I'm not saying that a lot of you are out there, just by spending and having a good time are the prodigal son. I'm not saying that at all. In both of these stories, what I want you guys to be is I want you guys to be the rich father right now whatever circumstance you're in, be the rich father to someone else. Welcome them back. Give them another chance. Bring them joy and a smile to their face. Could you imagine the relief, the happiness by that charitable gift that the father gave to the prodigal son? And could you imagine the joy of the man who sold his mansion because he finally found out what was really priceless to him in his life? The relationships with his friends and his family members in his community were more important than the materialistic mansion that, although everyone could fit in, was not where his heart was and was not important to him and did not give him the fulfillment of a rich life. Do not make that mistake and find out what is important to you in your life right now, what makes you rich, and then be like the father in the story of the prodigal son, and give to someone no matter what. Find someone that you can impact and bring a smile to their face, a smile of hope, a second chance, or just pure joy from an act of kindness or an act of charity that you have within you to give, and that will give you fulfillment and a rich life. Remember, God did, but most importantly, God does, and He will do for you. Notorious Money. We'll catch you guys later.